It is the 1st of June. We're going to talk about 5 coins that look really good in terms of development and overall value. So hi everyone, welcome to the channel. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell button, leave a like. Now a load of people are not subscribed, so make sure you do, it helps. Plus, let's get over 55,000 subscribers, which will make a big difference. Now again, sorry guys, no heart, cause it's like an oven in here. Not ideal. Anyways, we're going to talk today 5 very good coins that should be, at least one of them should be in your holdings, in my opinion anyways. I've not spoken about Bitcoin, I've not spoken about Ethereum, I've gone for other altcoins. Now, some of them are very, very obvious, some of them are not so obvious, but they all have something that leads to a catalyst for future, in my opinion, future growth. That's why it's, you know, the market's dumb, people are a bit panicky, a bit scared. So I thought, let's just go to the really safe side for this month alone. Sometimes some months I go a bit more wild, sometimes, you know, the market's a bit precious right now. So overall in the market, right, it's actually, as I said yesterday, in yesterday's video, sorry, it's actually okay. None of the fundamentals of anything's realistically changed, just price. Price has just changed, which is kind of just like people taking profit. And I know if you follow me on Twitter, you probably noticed me having a bit of a butcher's fight with people, because people just want to buy and hold cryptocurrency forever, which is fair enough, right? But I'm full-time in this space. I need to kind of have some sort of cash flow, investments make money for me. I then put it elsewhere. Yeah, realistically, me just bag holding, it doesn't make me any money, realistically, right? So always remember, if you are in that area where you've made a 10x, 20x, whatever you may be, not financial advice, of course, but if you're not taking profit, you should realistically be doing it, because that's the whole point of buying something and then taking profit, making money. Why here? Anyways, moving on. So the first one, it's an obvious one. It's probably the most obvious one ever. Guess where it is? Feel free to comment if you want to, but it is obviously Cardano. Right, come on. Now, it has been higher, much higher, but there's also a lot of things coming out with Cardano, which is very, very important and what you need to understand. Smart contracts. Now, I've often been critical, saying, well, it's taken its time, and it is taking a long, long time. But sometimes the best things are the ones that take a while to go, and it actually, this sort of theme is throughout this video. You're probably going to notice it very, very easily. These are companies or DAOs, whatever you want to label them as, right, that are taking their time, that don't care too much about the fundamentals as much. They want to get stuff right, they want to do it correctly, and you've probably got to notice it. So the one element with this is obviously the smart contracts, as I've just said, right? Big, big difference in terms of the moving forward of Cardano. Now, most people know this. I bought it in 2017, sold it in 2018. I bought it in 2020, sold it in 2021. Yeah, I know, I sold it, ooh. But at the end of the day, I wanted to use that capital to put it elsewhere into further investments to make it grow. I still rate it. I would still buy it again if I can, but I'm not going to just yet. I'm going to see what happens in the market. But for me, if you are looking for a good, solid core hold and you are new in the space, not financial advice, but Cardano is probably one that's probably going to be one that you're probably going to be looking at anyways, as terms of the future roadmap of what's coming. To be honest with you, I think quite a lot of these coins on this video will probably fit that kind of caveat realistically. The next one is Polkadot. Now, similar in some ways to Ethereum, will compensate it much more. It's, you know, you could probably argue very, very similar to what Cardano is going to do in some ways, in some elements, but not the same. So they're not going to be competing and biting and fighting against each other. They've got similar sort of isms in terms of the founders being from Ethereum, all kinds of stuff like that, which is kind of cool, don't get me wrong. However, just be careful, because they're totally different. So don't try and get bogged down in that battle and that fight. I personally can't stand it in crypto where people butcher other people because they hold something else. It's like pointless. They're very, very similar, but they've got likeness to it. Does that make sense? Whatever. Anyways, moving on. So parachains are coming. This has had a nice little price fall as well. Same as Cardano in a way, where it's been much higher, it's came down, and it's obviously got some good future developments. Now, the one thing you need to look out for is a launch checklist, which is starting to come into life. Why? Parachains. So parachains coming out, all these coins. So if you go on to, bit of a research tip, if you go onto here and go Polkadot ecosystem, right, you need to do your research in terms of what has a substrate and what is going to be powered by a parachain. A parachain, they need to bid for them, they need to beat the competitors, need to win. It's an unlimited sort of element of bonding, which is good for token holding. However, some of these coins on here are a bit guff. Sorry, said it. They are not very good. They don't. Some of them do not have substrate technology. They're basically ERC20. So make sure you do your research before you start aping into any sort of Polkadot chain. But there's a lot you've already seen here. The ones that are good, the ones that will do well, whatever they may be, they may well be absolutely fine. However, I do, you know, obviously not financial advice here, but you must do your research. Some of them are not ready for the Polkadot ecosystem, but make sure you check that, right? Don't go aping into something that goes, oh, powered by Polkadot, boom. Realistically, come on now. So yeah, for me, I rate it a lot. Most people know that. I hold a good bag, I stake it. I'm quite happy with that. The only downside is I'm waiting for the parachain, see what price action does what in terms of what projects go onto it, but that is an unknown anyways. We don't know what's going to develop in the future. But for me, it reminds me of Ethereum at the start. Obviously, I remember when Ethereum first kicked off back in 2016, started getting more and more, you know, assets on the chain. It then grew, and then it grew to what it is today. So very, very similar in that way. Moving on to the next one. Again, it's probably an obvious pick. It's Chainlink. Why? Chainlink 2.0, there's all kinds of stuff coming out in terms of the future of Chainlink for higher scalability, all kinds of good stuff with smart contracts. A lot less bloat, which is one critical thing about smart contracts. Bloaty, very, very bloaty. And when you've got real life, you know, tangible data essentially, that this has to feed through and give a good sort of processing element to it, it's going to be pretty horrible on terms of the network. But they are looking to change that. So Ethereum 2.0, the future of decentralized Oracle networks. So the main element is hybrid smart contracts to allow it for much better kind of environmental kind of elements to it in terms of power. Then you've got scalability, abstracting the complexity away from it, confidentiality, you got order fairness, trust minimization, and crypto economic security. That's a weird way to say it. But overall, when you start talking about it and start looking at what Oracle is, they're very, very, very important to how this ecosystem will work in terms of DeFi, in terms of price analytical data, everything, right? You can see it already here. You've got global insurance industry, global asset management, global finance. You've got thousands of other use cases. Global demand compute. Oh my god, it's ridiculous. You've got wrapped assets, DeFi, insurance contract, new smart contract, gaming contract. Oh my freaking god. There's loads, right? Now, when you think, and I've already said it, bloat, how many, you know, triggers, API, processes, all kinds of stuff like that, right? It's going to get pretty deep. And when you start thinking about it, things are looking quite good. So when you start looking overall, this came out on the 15th of April. This is the future of Chainlink, and I do think this is undervalued. Now, if I go over to my chart, now this is Bitcoin. Hello, we're going to ignore Bitcoin now. We're going to go to the BTC pair of Chainlink, and if you zoom out, this is the DeFi summer. This is where we are currently right now. We've had a nice little push up. We've had a pullback. We've formed a nice level of support, which is actually a higher low, and we seem to be doing all right. Another higher low here in terms of this impulse pullback. So would it be wise to kind of think this is undervalued? Probably, yeah. Realistically, a $30 link looks pretty good, realistically, considering where it's been. And you got to think that price correlation with the BTC pair looks pretty good. So for me, I think Chainlink looks pretty decent. But as you can see here, there's a lot of information here. I'm not going to like belt feed it because there's 136 pages of white paper there. So there's a lot of information. But what I will suggest is check out the video. It's pretty decent. But as I say, I think oracles are going to get very ugly very quickly if they do not have this element in here, which is obviously scalability. Can you imagine the lag for real life data? No, come on. So it's a real good step forward, and I think it will get a lot of interest in terms of the market. Moving on to something that is more scale proof at the moment is Silica. Now, most people know this. I hold this a lot. I love it. And the reason why is because it's grown. Now, I've been getting some really weird comments lately. And again, I've said it, the theme of this video is taking its time, making sure things are done right. You can say the same with Chainlink. You can say the same with Polkadot, same with Cardano. Silica's the same, right? Not many stress tests. Some companies, right, not to pick any out, I'm not going to say the names, they do stress tests with whatever, data, to try and market how good their chain is. doesn't work like that. You've got to do it on real life application, right? Silica is a one where it's about to kick off. What I mean by kick off is one, partnerships with big people. This is what happened a few weeks back was footballers. Football NFTs are partnered with Silica to produce and to distribute onto their platform. That's step number one. There've actually been one yesterday as well. Can't quite remember the name of the person. Darren Till, I think. Yep. Another very well-known name, part of the Silica framework. Now, one thing as well, we talked about it with Polkadot. We're going to start talking about it with Silica. Silica-powered projects. People using Silica and their sharding capability in their network to produce their project. Who's going to go to Ethereum when it's going to be laggy, bloaty and problematic in terms of fees and people not getting the fair distribution of a transactional speed? When you can go to Silica and you can get it instantly and pretty much free, which is pretty cool. Now, as I say, it's just starting out. So this is just one project. There's a number of projects coming out very, very soon, and a lot of noise in terms of the information on social media is that a lot of projects are coming onto their ecosystem very, very soon, along with further celebrities, a lot more going on. So keep an eye on it. So again, this is probably going to be a really good one. Now, this is tokenization of YouTubers. So you got to think millions of YouTuber subscribers, viewers, whatever, going through the YouTube platform, getting distributed in XCAD, basically fan token, essentially will be powered on the Silica network in the next coming weeks when it migrates over. It's just had its fundraise, so it's pretty cool. So that's one step in terms of token flow. You've got obviously as well the Ethereum bridge is happening as well, so allowing you to basically, you know, connect with Ethereum projects, which is pretty awesome, and potentially other networks too. Moving on to the last one is reserve rights. Why is this one on here now? Another one that's kind of a bit of a weird one. People go, oh, why? Well, this one's got a fairy tale story technically. It actually solves a very, very solid use case, which is hyperinflation, allowing people to buy, sell, move money around in places where there's, you know, it's kind of somewhat impossible. Now, again, there's no mainnet on this yet, but the one thing is, obviously, this is like an article from April. We're talking here about a use of a project here that I don't think many people know about this fully yet. The number one most downloaded financial app in Venezuela, and it's surpassed 100,000 downloads. That is amazing for a country that is absolutely battered by hyperinflation right now. It is terrible. There's also increased usage in Argentina and Colombia. So this is what they're doing. They've already got 1,100 merchants officially accepting the reserve. That's amazing when you think that this has never got a mainnet yet. It's not really fully out there yet. Got a huge Spanish-speaking community as well. And they're continuing to recruit people all the time. Literally, we've got 3 new software engineers in Q1, and they've expanded their full team to 61 people. This is going to be an absolute boomer, in my opinion, for use case. Now, again, as I say, there is no mainnet yet. It's coming out this year. They've been focusing mainly on the app, getting it working, because it needs to work in those countries. So, when you think it's just an ERC20 at the moment, it's very, very basic, minimal for token usage. In terms of utility, it will get better. And you can see here recruiting. They are looking to recruit more people. User growth is just absolutely ridiculous. When you see that fact of already 100,000 people using this technology, and it's actually changing lives. It makes it much more better in terms of just real life application. Having a use case of a solid framework of finance and something to use it. So if you don't know much about reserve rights, just quickly, I want to show you something. If you go to their website, and the first thing that you need to do is watch this video. It fully it gets you fully in tuned with it. And it's about basically having your own money. It's yours. Sending money over across borders, and obviously you can take payment with it. Now, in terms of everything else, it's backed by Coinbase. It's backed by some, you don't even have to introduce these people. You can see it already. There you go. Sam Altman, Peter Thiel. You got some very, very big people. A lot of people in and around the PayPal mafia, in and around PayPal introduction, like the founders basically of PayPal. This is an interesting one. So there you go. Things are happening. Cool things are coming out. These are the obvious picks of ones with solid, strong developments in the next few months that could, you know, spark a bit of price action.